Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amy Porter, class of 2014, and I have the privilege of serving as the president-elect of the Alumni Association Board of Directors. It's wonderful to be with you all today to celebrate our two distinguished award recipients, and congratulations again, Dwight. Established in 1978, the James E. Armstrong Award is conferred on alumni who are current or former employees of Notre Dame and have rendered distinguished service to the university. It is one of the oldest awards presented by the Alumni Association, second only to the Soren Award. Our 2024 Armstrong Award honoree, Brian Coughlin, is the Associate Vice President for Student Development here at Notre Dame. To many, he is known as BC. Brian was described by one of his nominators as one of the greatest gifts our university has. He pours his time, effort, and love to making it a better place for everyone. After graduating from Notre Dame in 1995, Brian returned to campus again in 1998 to become one of the first lay rectors serving Carroll Hall community for 3 years before being asked to become the director of student activities. He led the student activities office through a period of substantial growth until 2007 before moving into the role of assistant vice president for 3 years. Since 2010, Brian has served as the associate vice president for student development. In this role, Brian is responsible for the planning, oversight, and daily management of the student development services, including the Office of Community Standards, the Gender Relations Center, Multicultural Student Programs and Services, the Student Activities Office, Legends of Notre Dame, Student Media, Rec Sports, the Office of Student Enrichment, the Family Resource Center, LaFortune Student Center, Duncan Student Center, and the Notre Dame Band. Brian also, in his free time, advises the student government and its leadership, as well as other student clubs and organizations. Within his involvement in each of these roles, Brian is at the helm, ensuring each group is working towards breathing the fullness of life to all impacted students. If this wasn't enough, Brian has also been the head coach of the women's water polo team since 1998, leading the team to multiple Midwest championships, numerous trips to the National Collegiate Club Championships, including being a national runner-up in 2009 and 2015. The team has finished the season ranked in the top 10 nationally 15 times. Brian has also been named the Conference Coach of the Year 11 times and National Collegiate Club Coach of the Year twice. A testament to Brian's on-campus impact lies in the very fact that he was nominated by 6 individual Notre Dame students who felt compelled to express their gratitude for his work. One noted that Brian mentors the student leaders with a tough but deep love, challenging them to think better and care for the people around them. Another noted that honest, humble, and values-driven, BC has been a distinguished servant to Notre Dame. Brian truly is a force for good. He is a servant leader who has dedicated much of his life to the university and her students, not for recognition, but just to make Notre Dame a better place for all. Thank you for your incredible service to Notre Dame, Brian. We are thrilled to recognize you today and to welcome your family, friends, and colleagues here with us this afternoon. On behalf of the Notre Dame Alumni Association, it is my honor and privilege to welcome and present to you the Notre Dame James E. Armstrong Award 2024, Brian Coughlin.
Amy, I'd just like to say thank you for that very kind and generous introduction. I'm honored and humbled to be here today. When Dolly knows this because she's the one who called and told me about this. I'm a true Irishman. Sometimes my Irish comes up and I get a little emotional, and that certainly did it with that introduction, so thank you. Thank you to all of you as board members for all that you do for this university. Your investment of time and talents truly make this a better place. not only for us as employees, but especially for our students. I am asked to talk quite regularly, when Dolly said I had to talk today, no problem. What's the topic? And she said it was you. I'm not as good at this part, but I will do what I can, so bear with me as we kind of go through this together. There are still days I can't believe I got to attend this place as a student, not to mention live and work here for over half my life. But now to receive an honor like this, just incomprehensible to me. I'm truly grateful. I'm often asked to reflect on today's Notre Dame students, or to talk about how Notre Dame students changed since you've been here. One of the things that I mention almost every time is when you're talking to a Notre Dame student, they will tell you that there is a typical Notre Dame student, and in the exact same breath, they will tell you, but I'm not that. There are hints of humility and self-doubt and imposter syndrome in those statements, and I can relate to them. There is no single Notre Dame story. There may never have been. I grew up in Erie, Pennsylvania, in a family that was transitioning from blue collar to white collar. My mother's family ran a corner grocery, and her mother worked in the Recorder of Wills office in the Erie County Courthouse after her husband, my grandfather, passed away when my mother was a toddler. My mother was raised by her mother and two aunts in a household of some of the strongest women I have ever known. And if you know my wife, Amy, who's here today, and the women that are in my life now, you know what a statement that is. My dad was the son of a firefighter. He went into the Air Force after graduating high school. He returned to Erie and worked multiple jobs in the union at the American Sterilizer Company, AMSCO. Everything from driving a truck to the foundry. My mom went to college to become a teacher at a small women's college in Erie, Villa Maria, which was run by the Sisters of St. Joseph, whose mother house was across the street from where Mom grew up. My dad went to college through a program at AMSCO. He went to night school at Gannon University in Erie for 9 years. He did this to earn his degree and make a better life for all of us. There have been some long days in my career, but I cannot imagine what it took to work a hot, hard, arduous factory job, come home to your young family, shower, eat, and then go to night school for that long. Those who know towns like Erie know they have a gravitational pull like the sun. When I was growing up, few people ever strayed too far away. In fact, most of my life, I had never been east of Buffalo, New York, south of Pittsburgh, or west of Cleveland, Ohio. I had never been on a train or an airplane. My dad grew up on the 400 block of West 30th Street. He was raising his family in the 400 block of West 31st Street. I tell you all this because I think it's an important context for you to understand how likely it is that I ever made it to Notre Dame in the fall of 1991, and what motivates me to this day. It was Christmas break of 1990. I was a senior in high school. I was involved in everything you could imagine and doing well academically. That said, the thought of college was completely overwhelming. I had certainly never imagined going far from home. My parents had set aside some money for me to apply to colleges. I ended up still having some money left because Gannon University had waived my fee, as did Allegheny College, which was in Meadville, Pennsylvania, 30 miles away. During the Christmas break, Dad and I were watching sports, as we often did. Pro football is king in Erie, being so close to 3 NFL cities. But being good Irish Catholics, we always kept an eye on Notre Dame games, though we did not build our lives around them like we later would. After what can only be described as watching one of the worst officiating calls of all time, the phantom clip on Rocket's 92-yard punt return that should have been a game winner with 43 seconds left in the 91 Orange Bowl. I've gotten over it, clearly. Yep. My dad asked me if I had ever considered applying to Notre Dame. My answer was, not really. The truth was that I could not, even as a senior in high school, have told you what state Notre Dame was in, as it was so far outside of anything I could have imagined. With his encouragement, the next week I applied, and for the first time let myself dream about what Notre Dame could be like. It remained a dream until I received the thick envelope in April of that year. A couple weeks later, I traveled farther from Erie than I ever had and came to see Notre Dame in Indiana for the first time. I'm not sure there are even words to describe how I felt on that trip. Nervous, excited, terrified, euphoric, overwhelmed, joyful, or a few that come close if you can combine them all together. I'm not sure I can tell you that I fell in love with Notre Dame on that trip, or even that I believed it was a place for me, as much as I knew that it was an opportunity that was special, one that few people received, and one I should take, as it would chart a new course for my life, and in many ways my family's. These uneasy feelings persisted through much of my first year or two at Notre Dame. I knew it was a special place, and it was slowly growing to become special for me. But it was real work. I missed my home. I fought feelings that I didn't belong here or that I wasn't supposed to be here. I worked hard to remain open to the place, the people and experiences that would all lead me to expand the way that I entered into the world. The thoughts, beliefs, and feelings I held were all challenged. They were evolving because of this place and the experiences I was having. That evolution and growth is not easy, and it's often painful. But they are all part of the journey to completeness that Father Moreau envisioned. By junior year, I was on my third major and college, but I was also the vice president of Grace Hall and the captain of the men's water polo team. Notre Dame was becoming home, and the people I met were becoming my dear friends, like my friend Steve Camilleri, who's able to join me here today. They were also becoming my teachers and confidants. I was not the person I was when I started at Notre Dame. I was changed, impacted, and touched by this place and the experiences I was having. I truly believe that my own personal student experience at Notre Dame is what influences and fuels my work today. I was blessed to receive an offer to return to the university to be one of the first lay men to serve as rector in a men's residence hall. This offer came from a woman I admire so very much, former Armstrong Award winner and vice president for student affairs, Professor Patty O'Hara. It was not an easy decision for me to make, as I was working and living in Boston at the time, as was my sister, who was kind enough to drive in from Pittsburgh to be with me here. As I struggled with this choice to take on this unprecedented role, I turned to my dad about the whole situation. I will never forget what he said to me. When the lady on top of the dome tells you it's time to go home, you go. I called Professor O'Hara the next day and accepted the offer. It was the best job I've ever had in my entire life. Residence hall rectors have grace-filled roles. They are embedded with the students and get to walk with them through every aspect of their lives. Every moment, the sad ones, the joyful ones, the complicated ones, the faithful and faithless ones, the ones of self-doubt and even self-harm, the ones of self-confidence and accomplishment. It is a true blessing. I loved everything about being a rector until 11 o'clock at night. Father Paul Doyle, a former Armstrong Award winner, mentor and friend, and member of the rector class the year before mine, used to tell me that he kept a sign on the inside of his door that read, "Christ is knocking." It was a reminder of the importance of whatever and whoever was knocking on the other side of that door. This idea is at the heart of student formation and development. We meet our students where they are, and we walk with them to become the people they are called to be. After 3 years of rector, Father Mark Portman, who has graciously joined us here today, became the vice president for student affairs. Father Mark selected me from a pool of candidates to become the director of student activities. 6 years later, Father Mark asked me to join his senior team. When Father Mark left for UP 3 years later, Tom Doyle asked me to be his associate vice president. And 2 years after that, Erin Hoffman Harding, who I'm grateful has joined me here today, asked me to remain on her senior team. After 9 years, Erin stepped away from the role, and Father Jerry Ollinger came in and decided to keep me on. Father Jerry had a work commitment today and unfortunately couldn't join us. So for those of you keeping track at home, that's 5 vice presidents for student affairs that I have worked directly for. They tell me one more and I get a set of steak knives. I've had a variety of responsibilities over the years, but there is one constant: our students. This ever-changing population of incredible young adults inspires me and fills me with hope for the future every day. It has been a privilege to accompany them through their Notre Dame experience. My roles have changed a lot over the years. Today, I get to work with some of the most committed, giving, and selfless people I have ever met. 2 of them have joined me here today. I have worked along Peggy Natusco, the director of the Family Resource Center, and Ryan Willerton, Associate Vice President for Career and Professional Development, in various roles over the last 25 years. They are just 2 examples of the types of people who have committed their life's work to the formation and development of our students. I no longer get to do a lot of firsthand work with our students outside of the executive officers of our undergraduate student government, a group that has a special place in my heart. I think that is why I have stayed with coaching the women's water polo team for so many years. I think that if I had stayed a rector or in student activities, I would not need to seek out the firsthand student interaction through coaching. I love the game, but not that much. I love the competition, and as Amy and Aaron will tell you, it's a good outlet for my competitive spirit, but that's not the reason. It's the relationship with the players that has kept me coaching. In many ways, I have been more the rector of the water polo team than I have been the coach of the water polo team. I'm often asked what has kept me at Notre Dame and in student affairs for so long. My answer is in my story. I stay because I'm in a real relationship with this place. A real relationship is hard. It takes work and effort to be successful. Think about the best and truest relationships in your life. Not the social media friends or acquaintances, but rather the people that mean the most to you. They're the only ones that can bring you true joy and happiness. They impact your life. But the cost for that, as we all know, is they're also the only ones that can truly disappoint you and frustrate you and hurt you. I'm in a real relationship with this place. That may sound crazy to some of you, to be in a relationship like that with your employer, but to me, it's been a true blessing to find a place I care so much about. I still get chills on snowy nights when I look up at the dome, or when I hear the playing of the alma mater, or when I see our students persevere and succeed. But I also know the pain or frustration when I don't think that I or this place live up to what I believe we can or should as an institution. To me, that just means I'm integrated my vocation into my life. I care about this place and am committed to it. I stay because I get to walk with students and walk with staff who walk with students on this journey of self-discovery. It is not my role to tell students where to go or what to do, but rather accompany them on their journey, challenging them to look at situations differently, expand their minds, being present to support them while they struggle with the evolution of their thoughts, beliefs, and feelings, just like I did. I stay not for the Notre Dame we are. I stay for the Notre Dame we aspire to be. The Notre Dame that was founded by an audacious 28-year-old French priest standing in a snowy wilderness 180 years ago. The Notre Dame that seeks to be one of the most powerful means for good in this country. I'm so grateful to be here with Dwight today, and congratulations to you. Thank you all again for all that you do for Our Lady's University and her students, and thank you for this great honor.